Now, in Skimbleshanks, we have already found out that Skimbleshanks is the main protagonist. The title is on his name itself, and it's a narrative poem because it tells a story. It's a descriptive poem, for it describes the main character in the overnight train from London to Glasgow. And there's extensive use of imagery, both visual, auditory as well. The poem borrows the meter from Rudyard Kipling's The Long Trail, and the poem does not only use a rhyme at the end of the lines, but he also uses the internal rhyme. And the rhyming pattern is thus A B C B D E F E. At the very beginning of the poem, we found out that Skimbleshanks the cat is mistrusted by the indeterminate and suspicious voices of the wider society, by the commotion and disturbance on the platform before he could be found prior to the departure of the train. And Skimbleshanks wields an overwhelming monopoly over any and all London trains perhaps, and there is an awesome political influence there. This makes him immensely powerful. It's a very energetic poem because it matches Skimble's pace as he scurries around, making sure the train is running smoothly. Eliot's poems in many respects articulated the disillusionment of a younger post-World War I generation with the values and conventions, both literary and social, of the Victorian era. His poem is an obvious fantasy, for cats in no way would drink tea or scotch or even report problems to the police. It is just perhaps an extended metaphor and hyperbole that is being used in this poem. So Skimbleshanks is thus the perfect dictator or the perfect ruler, the manager of the train, who has a keen eye for details and does not discriminate between first class and third class passengers, and not just about neat and tidiness, but he is kind to everybody in his mannerism, and he safeguards the railway passengers throughout their journey, wins their trust and respect. As the train moves from different place to place till its destination, and some of the places being named like Dumfries, Carlisle, Crewe, Glasgow, Gallowgate, Skimbleshanks is thus very specific and likes everything to be the way it should be, and he does not want to compromise or deteriorate or degrade the condition or the facilities or the comfort of the passengers in any way. He is obsessed with perfection and is extremely well organized. So just in the previous paragraph which we had done, facilities, one would enjoy so many facilities on the train, like simply having a wash basin if they wanted to refresh themselves or get freshened up, and if they wanted to shut the window if it was much cold at night, for if it caused them to sneeze. So in fear of catching a cold, they could easily shut the window, and even for that they didn't even need to get up from their seats, but they could do it simply using the handle there. Now, then the guard looks in politely and will ask you very brightly, "Do you like your morning tea weak or strong?" But Skimble's just behind him and was ready to remind him, for Skimble won't let anything go wrong. So he wanted to be everything under his control, and therefore he would be there to remind the guard if at all by any chance he would dare to forget his duty or any polite demeanor on the train. He was there to remind and put a check on those, and therefore even tea would be served according to the preference of the passengers. So their comfort was the primary job of the people here. For Skimble won't let anything go wrong. And when you creep into your cozy berth and pull up the counterpane, you ought to reflect that it's very nice to know that you won't be bothered by mice. So the moment you are ready to sleep, ready to get your nap, and you would pull up your sheet or your blanket, whatever it would be, so you would be relaxed with complete belief and faith in Skimble that since he is there, you can be safe. You ought to be safe. And you ought to reflect that it's very nice to know that you won't be bothered by mice. You can leave all that to the railway cat, the cat of the railway train. So the dedicated cat of the railway train would take care of every little, every minute to every big thing that could hinder your comfort and your peace. In the watches of the night, he is always fresh and bright. Every now and then, he has a cup of tea with perhaps a drop of scotch while he is keeping on the watch. So, while he is being vigilant on the passengers and everything about the train as well, he would always have a cup of tea from time to time continually to keep himself upright and awake, and he would even add a drop of scotch in it because drinking while on duty is a thing that is against the etiquette. So he would not compromise with his duty or his sincerity of his job and his responsibility, but he would add a drop of scotch to his cup of tea itself just to keep himself awake and vigilant to facilitate his motive of security and comfort of the passengers on board. He's stopping here and there to catch a flea. So he would be vigilant, he would be drinking tea, or he would be catching fleas and mice just to keep the passengers undisturbed. You were fast asleep at Crewe, and so you never knew that he was walking up and down the station. So, when it was the station Crewe, he was walking up and down the station at the platform to look around the train itself. So, not just from within, but even outside. You were sleeping all the while he was busy at Carlisle, where he greets the station master with elation, as if receiving and giving out a sense of confirmation and receiving the affirmation that everything is right and smooth. But you saw him at Dumfries, where he speaks to the police if there's anything they ought to know about. So at Dumfries, he would be talking to the police officer there and exchanging information regarding anything suspicious. When you get to Gallowgate, there you do not have to wait, for Skimbleshanks will help you to get out. So the last stop. He will even help you get off the train. So when you are deboarding, he will even wave you with his long brown tail, which says, "I'll see you again," as if to symbolize that my vigilant eyes are always on you. You will meet without fail on the midnight mail, the cat of the railway train. So, again, another name of the train we get here, that is the midnight mail, and he would greet you and see you off and bow before you to make sure that you equally had the same kind of feelings and comfort that he expected you to have, and because he believes in his complete dedication and in his responsibility, he knows that you would surely travel by this train again, and therefore he would greet you and say, "I will see you again," for he knows what kind of faithful service he gives to the passengers, and therefore he knows that the passengers would equally acknowledge his service. Undoubtedly. So, in the morning, after the whole night's journey, finally the train reaches the station and everybody is greeted by his smile. He is not just a serious officer or a serious manager on board, but he is equally humble in his mannerism. Even though at the beginning of the journey, when the train was yet to depart, though people were suspicious of him when they couldn't find him, they had a suspicion that he might be, or they assumed that he might be doing some off work habits, that is, hunting the thimble. So, thimble is simply a steel or a metal made cap which is worn on the thumb or on the finger while using any sharp object like the knife, even to push the needle while working on the sewing machine. And he is mistrusted by the indeterminate and suspicious voices on the platform, by not just the passengers but by even the railway station master's daughters and everybody else. And gradually they come to know about him more by seeing the overwhelming monopoly with which he guards and protects everybody, is dedicatedly taking care of their well-being on board with such an unquestionable power dominates that without his response or without his signal, even the signals of the train would not go green, and he never approves of any misdemeanor on the train. So he is perhaps the only person who should be given the credit of the smooth functioning of the train. So the cat is more like a dictator as he controls and monitors the behavior of everyone through his regular patrol, and he watches the crew and passengers without even blinking, such that it is said to the point that he could even read your minds and your intentions. So he keeps everything in complete control of his own, disliking or disapproving any sort of merriment or riot on board, which might be disturbing the comfort of any of the passengers at night. So the noisy any sort of noisy merriment was condemned, for it disrupted the quiet and methodical functioning of the train. So Skimbleshanks is a dutiful, conscientious supervisor who does his duty efficiently. The cat thus wins the trust and respect of the passengers due to his cordial and caring attitude, and they feel safe and comfortable under his guard. That is very evident. And he does not compromise with his duty. He takes much pride in his duty, such that he disposes of even the petty mice and flea to ensure that there is no noise or no disturbance caused to the passengers in their sleep, and bids them adieu with the hope to see them again. So some attributes that we can use for him is he being a virtuous cat and a diligent worker, multitasking throughout the night, besides maintaining a good rapport with the passengers. The poem thus celebrates the virtues of hard work, dedication, and the importance of every individual's contribution to the smooth functioning of a society. And it acknowledges the dedication with which the people who perform essential duties are often overlooked by the society. So, T.S. Eliot perhaps is exploring the theme of the unsung heroes in the society. And a deeper message is also delivered about the importance of taking pride in one's work and the satisfaction that comes out from a job that is well done.